Hey folks, today on the show we're going to do a soft reveal on the Steampunk Aquarium, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works. And we're going to do the Hardscape with a care package from my Aquarium Box. Coming right up. Hey YouTube, this is pecktec, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Boy, have I been busy. I've been working on this aquarium day and night for probably a month. So this tank has been cooking around in my head for years and years. Now, you might have seen the old video where I was going to do this aquaponics setup, and I didn't drift too far from that idea, but instead of like herbs and vegetables, I decided to go for more of a paludarium kind of look. I think this was probably the closest to what I ended up with. I had a really cool concept for the way this tank would assemble, and basically it's going to be the theory behind a decorative Kleenex box. So basically I can take a tank and use an aquarium and put a sleeve over the top of it, and that would be the decorative shell that sort of helps tell the story of that tank. It'll also hide the kind of weird filtration system that I want to do. So I would like to have a lot of the plants in this tank growing above the water line. So I'm going to need that little greenhouse area. Now for you guys that have kept ponds and stuff, this is sort of a bog filter. So it's a tiny, tiny bog filter inside of this aquarium. What I'm doing in this aquarium is much simpler than the design I came up with before, and it's just a great way to kind of work those wabi-kusa balls into an aquascape that's really unique. So much about Steampunk is form over function, but I did want it to function at least to a certain level. And I think the filtration system will be more than adequate to keep the fish and keep some plants in good order. I'm fully aware that there are some aspects of this tank that aren't practical, and in some ways it's meant to be an art piece, but I do feel like the filtration system will be perfectly safe and actually beneficial to the fish, so I'm not going to worry about that. This is just for fun. It's got a very limited viewing space, okay? There's a very small area that you'll be able to look inside this tank. So what you see in there has to be pretty dramatic. Now, one of my favorite rocks for aquascaping is dragonstone, and I cannot get it here. And a new service that my Aquarium Box offers is these boxes of stones. They've got a bunch of different kinds of stones, and I asked them for a sample. And so yes, just the other day, I got my box of rocks from my Aquarium Box, and my sample is dragonstone. They have a number of other things available. Alright, I put up the ugly yellow towel just to protect the table a little bit. We're going to pull out these stones and take a look. It's really nicely packaged. There's a lot of rocks. A lot of rocks in here, individually wrapped up. Dragonstone's so dramatic. I mean, you can do so much with this stuff. You do so much with this stuff. It's really amazing. Alright. Wow. Oh my gosh, you guys. What a pile of rocks. You know, I got a couple of big ones. Some kind of medium-sized ones, and then tons of these little guys, which are great for making all kinds of little areas. This is actually going to be part of quite a few aquascapes, I think, because the tank that I'm doing is just this big. A fair amount of this will be filters, so thank you so much, my Aquarium Box, for helping sponsor the hardscape for this aquarium. It really helps a lot. I know a question I'm going to get inevitably with the tank is how expensive was it, and the answer is I stopped keeping track a while ago. If you guys haven't noticed lately, my Aquarium Box has kind of stepped up their game, and they used to do just a freshwater and a saltwater box. Now they have the UK boxes that just started going out. They also have hardscape boxes. You've got this kind of rock and a couple of other kinds of rocks. Oh, they're also doing wood. I had them send me just a couple of pieces of spider wood. This isn't like what a full order would be, but I've got a couple of really cool spider wood options also, which is a really fun wood to work with. So I'll put a link in the description And you guys feel free to check out all the cool products that my Aquarium Box makes now. It's neat, and there's probably something that you'd like to try at least once. Okay, one thing about dragonstone and even wood like this is you've got to prepare it beforehand, which is why I broke this out today, and I'm not aquascaping all of this at the convention. I've seen a lot of people come to these shows, and I think what a lot of people do is they set up the entire tank there at the con, and that's sort of what I had in mind too, but I don't want to take more of this stuff than I really want. I mean, it's carrying rocks around, right, and sticks and stuff like that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to practice doing the hardscape at least. I can pack some stuff in there to keep it safe when I transport it up. I mean, it's a relatively small aquarium. So what I might do is go ahead and do the hardscape, and then I'm going to plant it when I get up. What I'm going to do is get all this out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and rinse it off in my special 5-gallon bucket that's made for rinsing things. And we'll take another look at it after it's all cleaned up and we're ready to hardscape. Now, I designed the Steampunk aquarium to be completely modular, so we're going to start from the bottom up, and I'll just kind of tell you about each component and how it works as we put it together. So although I'm building this for a show that I'm going to next week, I'm eventually going to bring it home. So I went ahead and bought this table, and I'm sorry, no, I did not take a before picture, but I did strip all the paint, and I just painted it this glossy black. So I really like the shape of this table, and I got it at the local thrift store. Now, that's just one component. There are many components on this aquarium that I bought at that thrift store, and every penny that you spend there goes to feed homeless people, so it's actually really nice. So my table fed probably 16 or 17 meals. And it's just something I could kind of repurpose to hold this aquarium without having another project, which is like actually building the stand. I'm just not up for it yet. I've learned a ton about woodworking in this project, but I am not there yet. Now this is like a tray liner. It's called Easy Liner. I got it at Lowe's, and you can get something similar in a hardware store, probably Walmart. And I'm going to use this to put on the bottom of the aquarium. It'll just kind of give the aquarium a nice place to sit. It kind of evens out some irregularities and protects the wood and blah, blah, blah. This is great to do with any aquarium, and I don't do it a lot. The Fluviflora actually came with one of these. I think it's one of the few aquariums that came with one. Oh, the Flex did too. Yeah, the Flex came with a little pad also. And I just think they're good. All right, now as for the aquarium itself, it is a 5.5-gallon Aquarium tank. I think I got this for about $10. And it's a standard 5.5-gallon tank. Alright, what's cool about these tanks too is they have this lip right here, and I've utilized that quite a bit. A rimless tank would probably fit in this scenario really well. If you were going to build one of these yourself, it'd be really easy to make like whatever kind of shape tank that you want. I went with something simple and manufactured. I'm going to utilize this lip quite a bit with the top of the aquarium, with the lid, and also the wabi-kusa filter area. So I guess the next part of this is going to be to install the electronics and the filter and all that sort of thing. I got a 10-watt heater by SICCE, and I'm going to go ahead and make a space for that in here. Now here's something I've never seen in a heater before. It comes with stickers. Looks like one's rocks and one's sort of green floral growth. This is called the Jolly, and it's good for up to a 10-gallon tank, but it's got this space right here, so you could just put a sticker there to help disguise it a little bit. It also comes with 2 little suction cups. Wow, that's a really small form factor heater, which is perfect. The filter pump will be right there, so it should get some circulation. All right, next is the filter. I haven't changed this a whole lot since last week, except that I added a couple of more holes across the top just to make sure that it pumps the way it's supposed to. So of course this is a Fluval spec pump inside of a porette sponge. If you'll remember last week, this thing was kind of loose on here too. And somebody recommended, I think, that I use some of just this plumber's tape. So I think that's what I'm going to do to tighten up the grip. Yeah, so to tighten up the grip on this thing, I'm just going to add a layer of this. Oh, snug as can be. Very good. This fits on top of here. This will be the bed for the wabi-kusa balls. This feeds down into here, into the pump. I've got some little grabby suction cups which I might use to kind of do a little cable management in here, because I can see I'm already kind of getting a little wacky with the cables between the heater and this. Okay, so another purchase I made off eBay was the submersible light. This is like a 5.5-inch submersible light, and I'm going to place it inside of here, kind of out of view. This will cause the aquarium to sort of look like it's glowing from the inside. I'm going to have a light you can see over on this side, but I didn't want to put a light over the porthole on the top because, of course, the view's limited as it is. And I thought it'd be really neat to kind of have an internal glow. So I'm putting this light right here. That Buy It Now button on Amazon actually got me, and I have 2 of these, so I guess I have an extra one in case this busts. I've never tried one of these before. Hopefully they're good lights. I mean, I've turned it on and it looks adequate for this project, but I don't know if it'll grow plants or anything like that, so no opinions on that yet. This little thing that came with the heater, I didn't know what it was at first until I started noticing all these cables piling up right here. It's a cable management device, and you can use it to just wrap around, and it's really easy to do. Looks like it could hold a bunch of cords. That's pretty cool. Okay, so there's the filter and the lights, and it's time for some of the exciting parts. So, are you ready? Alright, so here's the exterior. It's made out of solid cherry wood that is splined together. It does have a porthole on this side, and aquascaping tool storage on the other side. It's made like a decorative Kleenex box, in that it simply fits over the top of everything else. Sort of forgot about all the cords being out there. Okay, so it slides right over the top. It fits right in there. We'll bring the cords out. So I also have a lid that goes on top. I've got a piece of plexi cut that's going to go over the top of this. This will be clear so you can see through it. That'll give it a little protection so stuff doesn't just fall into this place. I'm going to also use some spray-on rubber on the back of this to kind of protect it from some moisture. I also have this glass terrarium, which fits really nicely right here on top of the wabi-kusa tray. And to help light the terrarium, I'm going to use the light that I showed last week, not because it's a terrific light. Now, I bought this light at a store. I didn't get it online, so I didn't read any reviews, but this got really terrible reviews. But in the short term, it's the only one that I found that's got this perfect neck that's just long enough. It's got a clip. This is actually goes up and down right here on the clip, so you can really adjust the height that this thing is at. So for next weekend, this is the light, but this will probably change. I might be able to customize it later, but for the weekend, it'll do just fine. Now, wabi-kusas require a lot of moisture, so on the side here, I've made space for a mister. That'll just fit right here. And I've also included a handful of handy aquascaping tools. A lot of these are actually dental tools that I got really cheap on Amazon. These are Victorian sewing shears, but I thought it looked pretty nice in there. Nice in there. Alright, so let's light it up and take a look. So starting with the internal light, I'm going to turn that on. Doesn't look too bright there, but you can definitely see it. I can definitely see it on here. And this light, wow, yeah, I think that's going to do a decent job. It was important that I added a light here because I want the plants to grow towards the light. This greenhouse here will pick up a lot of the light noise, you know, the ambient light that's running around in the room. I could even put it in a window if I wanted, but what happens is the plants will always grow towards the source of light. So if I back this up to a window, the plants are going to be facing the wrong way. They'll be facing behind me. So I needed to make sure that I could put a light where I wanted the plants to grow towards. It's pretty fun. It's interesting. You'll be able to look through here and see all the way through to the back. So we'll have to design an aquascape with a really interesting view all the way down the aquarium, but also kind of a neat view in the front. Now the concept for this tank was that it would be a baby Kraken tank. So you've got a baby freshwater Kraken, and you just need to take care of it for a few weeks until you can get it. Maybe you're on expedition or something like that, and you just need to take care of it for a little while. So until it grows up and you move it to your much bigger aquarium. Of course, you need your aquarium to be very sturdy, because even a baby Kraken is tremendously strong. What I decided to do is go with a baby Kraken egg. So I'm going to build my aquascape, and I'd like to put in yes, yet another light, a blue light, all the way in the back here, underneath perhaps a glass egg, or maybe another glass shard or something like that. Something that can kind of say Kraken egg. So now I actually need to go downstairs and rinse out those rocks and rinse out some gravel. Oh, I will be using Fluorite Dark. It's a SICCE product. I've used it on a couple of different aquascapes, including the Flex. I just like the way it looks with the Dragonstone, so I'll be using that. I'm going to rinse out some of that, rinse out some Dragonstone. We'll come back, bring the camera in closer so you can really look in here. We'll do a hardscape on this thing. All right? Whew. And now, after a lot of exercise, I've got all my hardscaping materials together. I'm going to just remove this filter. This isn't going too far away because we'll have to measure to make sure the rocks don't interfere with the low-hanging walls. So really all I'm leaving in the tank to go by is going to be the pump, the heater, and the light. I know that the light is basically dead center where this porthole is, and where the light ends is where the wabi-kusa part kind of begins, so I can know where the rock height can be. But I think first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and add some substrate. This is fluorite. I thought it was Fluorite Dark, but it's not. It's fluorite, which is fine. It's got a real rich brown color to it. It's also inert, which means that it won't immediately cause a big spike in ammonia or anything like that. This isn't actually meant to be a planted tank on the inside, but I'm going to add some plants and do some things anyway and just see what I can do. They might not thrive and like grow as well as they could under more optimal conditions, but they won't die either. So it's sort of a low maintenance approach to the whole thing, and I don't think the plants mind. Alright, so when I came up with the Kraken theme for this tank, I decided instead of taking some fish and just calling it a Kraken, which is completely possible too. I could just have a betta named Kraken. So what I decided to do instead is make it a sort of a Kraken egg incubator. Now, Kraken eggs are found in deep, dark caves in freshwater lakes in Indonesia. So I need to recreate that deep, dark cave scenario, but I want to add a little something to it. So what I think I'm going to do is put yet another light in here. This thing I'm marrying has blue LED lights, but it's also a bubbler. Now I think putting it further over here means you'll mainly only be able to see it from the other side, but that's okay too because I don't want it to be the main focus of the tank. I still want the focus to kind of be right in here, so inevitably when I do put a fish in here, either under the premise that it's food for the emerging Kraken, or just someone to keep it company when it comes out, I still would like the fish to be kind of nicely showcased in here. But we'll have an imaginary world to go with it. Okay, now we'll start building the environment around there. I have this to kind of mark the height. I can go maybe a little bit higher than this egg, which means I'm just fine. Now, a lot of the stuff back here you're not going to really see too well. It's going to be kind of off in the dark. They'll just be shapes. So might take some of these lighter off-color pieces. I do want there to be some depth and some drama back in here. There'll be some blue light coming from this thing, kind of lighting it up in the side. I'd like to make this look like it sort of bursts out of these rocks, out of the ground. And these smaller ones will kind of make a nice framework for that, kind of tell that story. And I want a little bit of a wall behind it to hide this filter. Alright. What I'm going to do is add some more rocks in here. I'm going to use these small rocks to kind of give it some dimension. Make sure I've got a cool view going this way. Now these rocks that are closer to where the windows are, the portholes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these down so they have this effect of coming up out of the ground, but kind of low profile so you can still see and look through there. You can really give that impression by just trying to find all kinds of different sizes and stuff. I'm not worrying about it coming right up to the glass. I'm going to go ahead and let it do that. It's really such a small area that I'm working with that we can almost make it look like it's all made of this dragonstone. Dragonstone breaks apart really, really easy, so you can take, like I've got these huge pieces that I can't use for this project, but I'll probably use for something else. But if you did need more, and all you have was a big piece, you can take a chisel to this and break this apart and make all kinds of smaller pieces, and they all still come out really interesting. Like this chunk's way too massive for this skate, but I'm sure it'll come back in something else. Let's see if you can see the egg glow. Yes. glowing freshwater kraken egg right there, folks. Oh look, you can see it pretty well even from this side, so you kind of have to look over a little bit to get a sense of it. It looks like a couple of the rocks that I set up fell down back there. I'll have to kind of reset them, but really neat perspective and point of view from this direction. That's pretty neat too. It looks like kind of looks like everything fell over. Maybe I got too rattled when I put the box on there. And here it is on the table that I got at the thrift store. So except for the wabi-kusa, that's pretty much all there is to show on this tank. I've got some really interesting perspectives on the inside. You really have to keep in mind that you only have these three views. You know, I've got this top view, I've got the side and the other side, but it kind of makes it more intriguing to look in the box and kind of see what you find in there. And I love the glowing egg and stuff. That's really interesting. Once I get the plants, the wabi-kusa balls and the plants and the other things going inside of this, I'll just kind of add another layer of interest to this tank, and I really can't wait to see it all the way set up. Now next week I'll probably do something quick and fun from the event, like a live stream, or I'll cut together a little short video on my phone. But be sure to let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see. So I've got all kinds of ideas for what to do next week. I'm going to try to get some interviews, talk to a few people, have some fun, and just cover the event sort of like I did last year. If you're really curious about the big fish deal, I've got a whole playlist that I'm about to create that'll have all the footage from last year and stuff that I'm including for this year. There'll be a link in the description below where you can find out more information. It's next weekend. It's always fun to meet my viewers too, so if you're going to this event and you'd like to say hello, please don't hesitate. I love to meet new people. Now I've got a couple of wabi-kusa balls to deal with, so I'm going to let it go here. Guys, remember, till next time, follow your bliss, keep a clean tank, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.